I'm working with a big group of beginners right now, and I've had to move away from some of the games that I like to play because the skill level is very rudimentary, and then also the numbers of practice tend to be only 4 or 5 players, which limits the number or the type of games that you're allowed to play, and also because the skill level uh, doesn't make a lot of sense. We still try to play some 2-on-2 and 1-on-1 and work on some drills that I would guess would be considered more typical for me and the type of practices that I try to run. But we've also had to simplify it and reduce some of the intensity in practice as well, just because of injuries and the amount of time that they're spending on the court. Because in games we essentially have no subs, and so yesterday we were working on some stationary ball handling as a rest in between some other drills, and rather than just either give more explicit instruction in terms of I want your hand this way, I want you to pound it this way, etc., and to try to break up the typical block practice. I try to get them to focus on different things. So either some of the cues that I use were if I wanted them to pound the ball harder, it was make noise with the ball, and then we would dribble as fast as we can. So I didn't care, how, let's say we were doing baby crossovers, which I'll try to link below, and they're just going back and forth from one hand to the other. And, the first time I want you just as low as you can, low as you can, low as you can, as fast as you can. So I didn't really care when it was as fast. I don't really care how high or how low. I just want you bouncing the ball as fast as you can. Okay, now I want you to get it as wide as you can. So going in the biggest range of motion possible while standing still. And so by using these different variations, they're having to put their hand on the ball in different ways. They're having to dribble at different speeds, different pressure, different kind of contact. And they're all related to how eventually, we're going to handle the ball during a game. So if we only work on one aspect, so let's say we want the ball low and we want the ball to stay between our legs, so we're not bringing it wide, and we want it, and then we're just doing it at one speed. We may get very good at that, but in a game that might not be how we execute a move. Maybe we have to hesitate and we bring the ball a little bit further away from our body to sell a direct drive, and then we cross over. So we have to be able to handle the ball away from our body a little bit. Or maybe we need it to be faster, maybe we need it to be lower, maybe we need it to be higher. And so by incorporating all these different types of instructions, and without giving the explicit instruction of, your hand is here, I want you to do this exactly, it should be at, X pace, whatever, they're allowed to experiment and explore within that type of instruction. So how can they get the ball as wide as possible? How can they make as much noise as possible? How can they be as fast as possible? And through that, you could see improvement just within, 5 or 10 minutes. Again, beginners are going to tend to improve a lot faster than players that have some experience. I might not do this with players who have a year or two of playing experience and can do more things and, more complex drills and with defense and so on and so forth. But for a beginner drill, using these as the cues instead of giving explicit instruction and forcing them to handle the ball in different ways, to me, help them improve rather than only doing one type of, the drill. So each drill had 2 or 3 or 4 different variations, and then we could combine the drills so that it was, we only did, one drill with one type of instruction for about 10 seconds. So we'd cross over as fast as you can, for 5 to 10 seconds, and we'd go as, wide as we can, then as high as you can, and then we would go to a different drill. And then we combine those 2 drills. So if we got through a lot of repetitions in a short amount of time, and all those repetitions were varied and different because of the different instructions that came along with the same drill.